Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Ask Carol Talk Show. It is August 2nd already. It is August 2nd. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We're going to have fun today. Today, we're going to talk real estate. And thank you, everyone, again, for joining in. Today, we have two amazing guest speakers with us this afternoon. We have the brilliant and the beautiful Mistress Frida Thorpe, and we have the brilliant and must I say good looking Mr. Thorpe. So thank you everyone for joining in. So you know how we do it on the Ask Carol Talk Show. So are you ready for my rap? Are you ready for my rap? So here we go. One, two, three. Now, let's start anything. Don't hold back. Real conversations on the right track. Real impact, no fluff, just fact. Ask Carol. So today we're asking Carol and we're asking Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe about real estate and finances. Who is Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe? We're going to find out. So they're from the Mortgage Project Inc. And they're the Thorpes, and together with the Mortgage Project Inc., in which they established in 2017, are a one-stop for real estate and home mortgages. They do more than property, paperwork, and process. They do people with excellence. I love that word. They do people with excellence. They are the luxury real estate experts. They specialize in short term and vacation rentals. They are buyers and sellers agents, new home construction, luxury home and condos, investment properties, real estate seminars, and commercial sales. That was a mouthful. Beautiful. I just can't wait to get started. So, without further ado, Mistress Thorpe, who exactly are you? Tell us about yourself before we get into it.
Sure, no problem. First, I am the husband of Frida Thorpe here. Oh, you said Mrs. Did you want Frida to go first?
Yes, either or, doesn't
Go ahead,
matter.
baby.
You come as a unit. Go ahead.
Go ahead, baby.
Yeah, I'm Frida. We're originally from Pennsylvania, here in the US, and we moved here in 2011 simply because we wanted to get away from the snow. We didn't want to be cold anymore.
Tell me where we are.
And we are now located in Cape Canaveral, Florida. I used to, for 29 years, I worked in corrections and also an ordained pastor, minister, overseer, and do a lot of little things in between. But real estate is one of my things that help me help people every day. This is what I've been doing. I've been doing real estate for about 13 years now.
Amazing.
And this is Mr.
Mr. Thorpe, go ahead, sir.
I'm also from Pennsylvania. We've been here. Okay, we've been here for about. We've been down here for about 15 years total. But I've been in real estate for years. I started as a young man. I worked for various mortgage companies, and at one point, in order to give my clients the best service, I decided that we should branch out on our own and become a one-stop shop. Not only am I a realtor, I'm a mortgage broker, and I'm licensed to do life and health insurance. So when someone comes to Frida and I, they really don't have to go anywhere else because we can handle pretty much everything from A to Z, from life insurance to real estate, mortgage brokering. We can do the financing. We also do property management and investment. So again, we are a one-stop shop for real.
I love it. I love it. A one-stop shop. Everything under one umbrella. Amazing. So guys, we're gonna have you start putting your questions and your comments in the chat. If you have questions about real estate and finances, you can go ahead and start popping those in. But I want to start with Mrs. Thorpe. So, what inspired you to become a real estate agent?
That's a funny story. Again, when we
We
moved
love
to
funny stories on the Axe Carol show.
when we moved to Cape Canaveral, I pretty much wasn't doing anything for the first like half a year or whatever. And my husband said, "Well, what would you like to do?" I said, "I'd like to be on HGTV. That's what I would like to do." And all I thought about HGTV was showing properties, meeting people, walking through the houses, talking about what they're made of, the different styles and so forth, furnishings, etc. And so my husband said, "Well, go for it. Go for it. Get your real estate license." And I went to get my real estate license. I was in class and I thought I was in the wrong class the first day because they weren't talking about travertine tiles. They weren't talking about marble countertops. They weren't talking about tray ceilings, none of that. It was just confusing to me. But the more I was in the class, I studied hard because I came into it at an older age. And the young people, they just thought they had it. But I was the top in the top two that graduated in that class because I knew I had a challenge. I had to work hard for it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we love real estate and we're in the market for real estate. And I think it's a topic that needs to be spoken about. And that is why we're on the Ask Carol Talk Show. So here's another question for you, Mrs. Starr. How did you get started in the industry and what was your first sale like? Well, we already know how you got started, but what was your first sale like?
Well, actually, when I got my real estate license, I began selling timeshare at the Holiday Inn Vacation, what was Ron John's down in Cape Canaveral. And I did that like for about a year, and I thought, oh, this is great, but you kind of like just sat and waited for customers come in. And I thought, I never got into this to do that. I'm still got HGTV in my head, right? So I said, let me do better. So the first place that I went to work, when you get your license, you get a lot of people asking, come join their company, come join their company. So I wanted to be with a company that had a name at the time. And so I joined Caldwell Banker.
Yes.
And I started out in rentals because I didn't know anybody. They said, well, you use your sphere of influence. Well, me and my husband moved down here. We didn't know a soul. We didn't have family. We didn't have anybody. And so they helped me out. I found a dear lady that I worked with. She helped me out with the rentals, and I started doing rentals. And I still do rentals to this day because renters become buyers, and then buyers
Yes.
become sellers, and then sellers become buyers again. It's
I
just
love it.
it's just a circle, and I'm grateful for her, the lady that helped me and taught me in that. But my first sale was a walk-in. They told me, well, sit at the front desk. If you sit at the front desk, whoever you get comes in the door, that's your client. I sat at the front desk and in walked a lady, and she was looking for a rental actually. She knew exactly where she wanted to rent. And I said, oh, this is kind of cool. And then she changed her mind midstream. She says, oh, I found one in that very place that's for sale, and I'd like to buy it. And I'd like to buy it cash. I'm telling you that they say that's beginner's luck, but I say that's the favor of God all my life because
Yes.
anybody could have been sitting at that desk. And so it was just a matter of learning the paperwork, making sure I knew the process to get her to there. And that was my first sale, and it was over 400 and something $1,000
Wow.
cash.
Wow. Your first sale was
Yes,
over $400,000. That's amazing.
yes.
That is so amazing. So I'm going to toss this over to Mr. Torp. So what led you to become a mortgage broker? And what exactly is a mortgage broker? Or who exactly, rather?
Well, what made me become a mortgage broker was I love real estate and I love the freedom, and I didn't fit into corporate America very well, and I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. My father was a minister, kind of worked for himself. All my brothers sort of worked for themselves, so it's just something that was instilled in me. Um, what really like solidified it was I had a young girl, young Black girl. She might have been 23 years old, and I was doing the financing for her to purchase a home, and she had a very high interest rate, and I didn't do a very good job of explaining to her the other things that go along with buying a home, like there's
Mm-hmm.
maintenance, there's property taxes, there's
Oh yeah.
insurance, and I felt bad at the closing. So I said, I got to do better, even though I got the sale. And then I wanted to branch out on my own. So I came up with a concept called the Mortgage Project. It initially was going to be a television show. Um, and then that's how I got started with that. And the other question you had was the real estate agent and a mortgage broker. For instance, Frida and I worked together on a deal. Like, say if you were buying a home, I
Mm-hmm.
would do the financing for you. I would find the money for you to purchase the home, and Frida would actually show you the home and handle the real estate side. So we kind of work together. I get
Mm-hmm.
the money for the client, Frida gets the home. So we can take someone like yourself. I'll say, okay, let me get you pre-approved. And then after that, I'll turn you over to Frida, and Frida will actually help you find a home. So it's just a thing of working together. But the mortgage broker actually finds the financing, and I'm connected with brokers throughout the country. So there's different products that I can offer you. Just depends on what your credit score is and so forth and so forth. But the mortgage broker actually does the financing.
Okay. So is there a difference between the mortgage broker and a bank loan officer? Is there a difference, or it's the same person that does the
Well,
same job?
one of the things with the bank is they're kind of limited because they have a
Okay.
lot of compliance things. They only do certain types of loans. Okay. They're just pretty cut and dry. With the mortgage
Mm-hmm.
broker, we can expand, we can do bank statement loans, we can do interest only loans, and we're a little bit more intimate with the client. As opposed to the bank, you got to have a certain credit score. If not, then they're going to kind of push you aside because they're a bank. But when you're a mortgage broker, you have to find your own clients. Nobody's coming to you. You have to find your own clients to get the financing for. A bank they have better interest rates sometimes, but they're not as creative as a mortgage broker would be.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I have my two amazing co-hosts with me today. We have beautiful Shay and beautiful Alita. Alita or Shay, are we seeing anything in the chat so far?
Yes, we actually do. I've got a great question here from Shirley Bell, and I'd just like to go back to what you've just mentioned about the difference with a mortgage broker and approaching the bank. You mentioned that the mortgage broker is more intimate, so it's more of a one-to-one. And I've got this great question because number one, the first question is, what are the prerequisite? Because you mentioned that having a good credit score would help you when you're approaching the bank. The question I have here, it says, I don't have good credit and I want to buy a house. What should I do? That's question
Great
number one.
question.
It's a very good question. There's a couple things that's needed to get pre-approved to actually buy a piece of property. Your credit, okay? If just simply go to a credit repair person. Um, I have someone on our team that does credit that I would send my clients to. You could do that, and a lot of times people say they have bad credit, but they really don't know what their score is. So I would highly recommend, regardless of how bad it may hurt, look at your credit score and see what the problems are. There may be things on your credit report that are inaccurate. 70% of credit reports have inaccuracies on them. So it just may
Mm.
be something that's on there that's not yours. It may be a card that you paid off but still on there. Just little minor things that can be removed and push your score up. Now, another thing is work history. I know you guys are in Europe. Are both of you in Europe? Oh, okay.
Well, I am in Florida,
Oh,
but
okay. Okay.
we have our guests all over Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. We have guests from the UK on with us. So yes, we're all over.
Okay. Well, with the pre-approval, you need at least you want your score to be around 640. Okay,
640.
because in
Okay.
order to qualify for first-time homebuyer programs, you can get
I'm
fund.
sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Torp. Alita, can you just pop that in the chat, please? A credit score of minimum 640, so our guests can have that number. Go ahead, sir.
Minimum credit score normally is around 640. Also, you're going to need a 2-year work history. Okay, so they're going to want to look at your tax returns for the last 2 years. If you are a business owner, okay, because we write everything off, so it looks like we don't have any income, but we write everything off. You can either pay yourself, okay, to get yourself a W-2, or you could do disbursements to yourself to show that you are making some kind of income. And that's if you're a business owner. If you're just a
Okay.
regular worker, 9 to 5, 2-year tax returns, 2 years W-2s. And they want to see a consistent 2-year work history. Now, if there's a break in your work history of 2 months or whatever, just let us know so we can tell the underwriter, hey, they were unemployed for 2 months, but they found a job. And then we have to put that 2-year period together because when it goes into underwriting, that's one of the first things they're going to look at.
Good. Good point. Alita, we seen anything else in the chat before we move on?
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Thorpe. That is so amazing because you've now answered the second question, which is what was the prerequisite, and you've given us a list of it. So that's amazing because you talked about repairing your credit score, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Even though we're in the UK as well, we have to make sure that we've got a good credit score. So as Carol has said, we've got people from all over. So there are different laws that I can imagine that would be different for Europe, for the UK, for the US, different states. So, guys, when you get this information, do your research as well, I would say. The other
Good.
question here is what if I owe the IRS?
Good
If you,
question.
that's a good question. If you do owe the IRS and you're on a payment plan, we would want to look at the paperwork for that. And we want to see that you are paying them on time. And as long as it doesn't hurt your debt to income ratio, you'll be fine. Your debt to
Good.
income ratio, if you make $2,000 a month, you can't spend 2,500 because you're going to be in the red. So your debt to income ratio, normally they want you to be about 45 to 50% uh, disposable income is what it's called, left over after you pay your bills. So if your bills total, if you make 2,000, your bills total 1,000, that gives you $1,000 of disposable income. So the debt to income ratio is about 50%. They want it a little lower than that, but I'm using simple numbers. So that's what is considered your debt to income ratio. So they don't want you spending more than you make. Okay, they want you to have some money left over at the end of the month because they know you're going to need it, whether it's a car note, even if you're buying a home, you're going to still have homeowners insurance, maintenance, maybe HOA fees, whatever the case may be. But it's called debt to income ratio, and they just want to see that you make enough after you pay your bills to be able to pay a mortgage or whatever else you need to pay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's toss this over to Mrs. Storp. So, what trend are you currently seeing in the housing market?
Well, I'm believing in 2025, it has already gotten better.
Good.
Yeah, 2024 across at least across Florida, it was very slow. It was more of a drought. And I think that's because people were uncertain and unsure of what the future was going to be because of the political arena and all the things that was happening in the White House. So people kind of waited. And because of interest rates, because of taxes, things went up. And they were just holding back from buying, and houses were on the market a little bit longer than they were the years before. But what I'm seeing this year, it's already getting busy again. Houses are
Good.
selling, people are buying, people feel a little bit more comfortable. Um, and we see people that say, well, I don't want to buy until maybe the interest rate comes down. But what if the interest rate doesn't come down and it goes
Mhm.
up? So now you've put
Mhm.
off getting a home when it was what it was. And the good news is regardless of what you get your interest rate at, you can always refinance if the interest rate goes down. So you can go right back to the drawing board, just keep your credit good and all those things in order, and you can go right back to my husband, Gene Thorpe, at Mortgage Right. He works through a company, a partnership, Mortgage Right, and they could help refinance so that the loan comes in at a lower interest rate.
Good stuff. And when we talk about a one-stop shop, that's exactly what we're talking about, the dynamic deal. Here's another question. So, what is the biggest mistake that you see buyers make when purchasing a home?
They buy with their heart and not with their pocketbook. And so,
Interesting.
sometimes, what do they say? You have champagne taste with a beer budget. And they find themselves, looking, they get excited about the shopping part instead of
Hmm.
being realistic about what they can afford. And I think the biggest thing, the most important thing is listen to your real estate agent and listen to your mortgage broker. They are the professionals. We've been working this thing. We know how to get you through the process. And if you just listen to us, then you'll miss some of these obstacles that you fall into. Like someone says, "Oh, I don't need an inspection." Yes, you need an inspection. An inspection
Necessary.
is important, even if you're paying cash. It is
Hmm.
important to get an inspection to know what you're getting into, and you don't want to fall into this money pit after you buy something, and now everything's falling apart, and there's things that you didn't see because as they say, they put lipstick on a pig, and they dressed it up. It looks good, but underneath the foundation's falling apart. There's electrical issues. The AC's not good. So I always recommend you have to get an inspection,
Hmm.
especially it's a mandatory if you have a loan, but in cash you don't have to. So I
Okay.
recommend that to everybody. Get one. It costs you some money, but it's in the long run, it's the best. It's the best suggestion that I can give to you.
Good stuff. Really good information. Alita, Shay, what else are we seeing in the chat? This is really good information. I'm getting a one-on-one lesson on real estate and mortgage and finance. Alita, are we seeing anything?
I just think I concur with you, Carol, because I just think the information that's coming out here from you both, from Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe, I just think it's absolutely amazing, so smashing,
Yes.
because we've
Smashing.
got
I love
people,
it.
it's smashing. So we've got people online that is from different age groups. So,
Hmm.
of course, if you've got the younger generation, so I just want to zoom in on this question. You've got the younger generation that are in their 20s. Then you've got the 30s. Then you've got the 40s. Then you've got the 50s. And you've also got the 60s. So talk us through, if you can, Jean, because I know you handle the mortgage side. First of all, I think you're a great tag team. Just fantastic. Just
Yes.
phenomenal.
Amazing. I love
But
it.
thank you, thank you.
Just amazing. You couldn't get it any better on this side. It's a one-stop shop. I love that. If you've got someone that's on the mature side, let's say from 50 onwards or 40s, let's go from 40s onwards,
Mhm.
because in the 20s, they've got a 25, 30-year mortgage. For example, if they're in their 40s, 50s, is there there a time period in which you can give different advice if you are in the mature audience or the younger audience in getting a mortgage? That's one of the questions, please.
Good
Well,
question.
that would be left up to the individual. Um, a lot of people, if they have extra income, they can make what is called they can make a biweekly payment. Some people get, so if you have a 30-year mortgage and you pay it like it's 1,000, I'm using just round numbers. Let's say it's $1,000 a month, your mortgage. You pay $500 every 2 weeks, then you're eating into the principal now. So a 30-year mortgage might become a 24-year mortgage because it's looking like you're making double payments and money is going quicker to the principal. Okay, so that's going to be decreasing. So you can do a bi-weekly thing. I would do, like, in retrospect, when I was young, if I was younger and I could afford to do that, I would have paid bi-weekly. Another thing you can do is, if you're older, you can get a 15-year mortgage. Okay, you don't have to get a 30-year mortgage. The interest rate may be a little higher, but you'll pay it off sooner. So it just depends really on the individual and their income stream. Some people, make double payments. It just depends on whether or not you have the funds to do that. But the age, as long as you're 21, you can use various methods to pay your mortgage off quickly. I like the biweekly because that's going to cut 6, 7 years off a 30-year mortgage. Okay. Or you can just go into a 15-year mortgage. Okay. And pay it off even quicker. Little higher payment, might be a little different interest rate, but if you have the funds, you can pay it off quicker. So that's what I would recommend.
And just
Good.
so you
And what is
know,
the
Thanks for
going
that.
interest? I'm
just
sorry,
so
go
you
ahead.
know, we did sell a property with a loan to a lady that was 79 years old. And
Wow.
she wasn't planning on leaving here anytime soon. She wasn't,
And
she
may
said,
I ask,
I'm not leaving this earth anytime soon. And she always worked, and she, of course, she has Social Security and so forth. And she was a very smart woman. She lived very meagerly. She didn't live above her means. And so this was exciting for her to have her own. She was living in a townhouse, a condo, and she wanted a place where she could plant her gardens out back and grow trees and so forth. And so she was, they have, if they're confident to do that. Now, there are some snowbirds that they would love to buy a second home. Now, that's where sometimes the issue comes in. It's like, am I going to want to pay two mortgages all the rest of my life? And I'm already 70, so it depends on how much they have, what they're working with, and their confidence in themselves in order to be able to pay.
And another thing, just
it,
to just to cap off that question, we can't discriminate anyway because of age.
That's right.
It's a federal law. Like, my mother got a mortgage on a church. She was 70 some odd years old. They gave her a 30-year mortgage.
wow.
So it's not really an age thing. If they, with banks or mortgage brokers, or we call them lenders, if you can pay and you meet the requirements, they'll give you the loan. That's not a problem. Age is not a big deal. As long as you're 21 and you got a 2-year work history, you're fine. Let's go.
That's interesting. I never knew that. I always thought age was a factor, one of the factors in purchasing a home. Very, very interesting. And while we're on it, the Torbs, can you just put your information in the chat so our participant can contact you? And Mrs. Thorpe, you mentioned snowbird. For those of us who are not familiar what snowbird is, for those of us out that are outside the United States, so a snowbird is if you live in the colder states, that the states what we call up north, like New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, those are what we call the snowbird states. And if you're moving further south, which is like Florida and Georgia and North and South Carolinas, then that's the warmer state that's you find that people live half. We call him half back. Is that correct, Mrs. Thorpe? We call him half back, half a year in the cold, half a year in the summer. Am I
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, so for those of you who didn't know what snowbird is, that's what we call in the States snowbird. Good stuff. And Lita, are we seeing any more questions or comments in the chat?
Absolutely. I want to jump on the vein of what Jean mentioned, and I'm glad there's no age restrictions at all. And that's really, really good to know because that was one of the questions that was in the chat. What I'd also like to find out, I've got two more questions. In the UK, you can choose to have a interest only, and in Europe, the interest only mortgage, or you can do both interest and also the principal. Is that the same in the US? And if you're advising someone, just general information online, if they would like to go forward to purchase a home, and of course you mentioned it depends on their income, whether they could do 11-year, depending. Are you able to do that in the US as well?
Good
It
question.
is available. We don't do it as much here in the US because what happened was people were just paying the interest. And then when it got time to pay some of the principal, they couldn't afford it. So there's not a lot of lenders that offer that, but it is a good product. If you want to get into a house fairly, I don't want to say cheap, but it's pretty inexpensive to paying the interest only. If you can find a product like that, and they're coming back, but they don't do a lot of them as much as they used to, rather in the US. You can do that. It's a good product. There was a program out where they would give you 3 payment options. Okay, you can pay the interest only, you can pay the regular principal, or you can there was another option, but those were two of the three. I can't think of the third, but they would give you options. So if you want to pay interest, you might be only paying $300. If you want to pay principal and interest, you might pay $700. So it would vary from month to month depending on what you want to pay. They don't. I haven't done an interest only loan in 20 years, 25. It's been a long time, but they're out there. They're coming back. But we had a lot of problems with them during the housing crisis here in America in 2008.
Mhm.
They kind of stopped doing it, or they slowed down. So I don't do a lot of those, but they're out there. Hey, if somebody want me to find one, I'll find one for you if you're looking to buy something.
Good
Thank you
stuff.
so
Go ahead,
much.
Alita.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to jump to the next question because there's a few questions here. Um, Michael has put in a great question here as well. We're having some fantastic questions today. Frida mentioned consumer confidence is improving. Is the US now a buyer's market?
Great question.
Are they considering it a buyer's market? I would say it's kind of like a buyer's market. I would say it's 70-30 buyer's market for right now, but it's starting to change. Again, it really is what are people looking for right now?
Mhm.
I had one house that sold in 2 days and they got exactly what they were asking for the price, which I haven't seen that in a while. And then you have some that's on the market for 6 months before you see anything. And what I am also seeing is that definitely there's been a lot of price reductions in houses that are listed. So they may start out at $359, and then 3 weeks later they're at $349. And then whoever buys it, normally purchases under the $349, because prices are always negotiable. And it depends on the motivation of the seller. If they're already moved out, they don't have a mortgage on that house, they may hold out until Hades freezes over. I'm not taking nothing less than that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
And
just
is
want to
it
add.
are you able to bid with the seller directly, or do you need to go through the agent?
If it is for sale by owner, you can do that with the owner. But if the seller has it listed on the MLS, the multiple listing services, if it's on there, you have to go through the real estate agent. And
Good stuff.
I think it's wise to go through a real estate agent. A lot of people think they know real estate, they know how to go through the process, but a lot of people get tripped up when they do
Yeah,
not use a professional. When you need to see a dentist, you are not going to try to pull your own tooth out or put your own filling in. You
exactly.
go to a dentist, you go to the professional. I know, I just went to one a couple days ago.
That's good stuff. Go to the professionals. If you're in the
Yes.
state of Florida, go through Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe for all your real estate and finance needs. Go ahead, Anita. What else are we seeing in the chat?
Fantastic. And just on the back of what Carol has just mentioned, if you check in the chat, for those of you that are interested, you've got their details there. Feel free to contact them. They've got all the relevant information that is there in the chat. Just take a screenshot of it and just get on board because I think this is
Yes.
amazing. So we've got another question here. This is a question from Europe, so it's slightly different from in the US. It says here, I'm from Ireland and the bank sold a lot of mortgages to vulture funds. As far as I know, the vulture funds bought the mortgages for a small price, but
Hmm.
want full payment from buyers. Is there anything that can be done here, like negotiating a cheaper price for the property? Let me read that again. I'm in Ireland and the bank sold a lot of mortgages to vulture funds. As far as I know, the vulture funds bought the mortgages for a small price, but wants full payment from the buyers. Is there anything that can be done here, like negotiating a cheap price for the property?
Interesting.
You want me to answer that?
Very interesting.
I'm not really sure of all the federal regulations there, or even if they have federal regulations in Ireland. I'm not really sure about that, but I know that a lot of hedge funds or different investor groups, they lenders packages they package these mortgages and then they sell them. Okay, now capital or vulture fund, eventually, yeah, they're going to try to sell those properties. If the only thing I would suggest, if you know it's one of their properties and it's for sale and you see that it's for sale, um, try to get some type of in the U.S. we would call it an appraisal or a broker price opinion to see, or just go on Zillow and see what you think it's worth, okay, and then make an offer based on that. People want to sell houses, so they're going to negotiate. I would still, if you see one of their homes on the market and you know it's under vulture, you know, get an idea of what it's, of what the value of that property is, and make an offer based on that. Because they were sold to Vulture so they could sell them to recoup some money. So they're going to want to sell them. So yeah, make an offer and see what happens.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Go
Fantastic.
ahead, Alita. We're going to get through to most of the questions. Let's do a quick time check. We have 20 minutes on the Ask Carol Talk Show. Go ahead, Alita.
This is just in response to the question that was just asked. It's mentioned here that the house would be worth about 100,000. So they would have approached and found out how much the house would have been valued at. So it would have been 100,000 euro. But the vulture company want a lot more. Do you
It
reckon
depends.
this is a more of a legal, getting legal advice on this? What would you
Yes,
say?
again, go to a professional. Um, but there's market value and then there's what you value. There are people that see a house and they say, I have to live in this house forever. I want this house. I want this house because it's near my relatives. I want this house because I'm relocated and it reminds me of the house that so what is the value to you also? So sometimes people pay more than the market value, depending on what your motivation is. What do you see as far as the value is concerned? But always negotiate, always negotiate what you feel you would feel comfortable in paying. And a lot of times that can go back a couple times, back and forth. Terms of the offer is just as important as the price of the offer.
No,
Good
and I just
stuff.
want to add to that. I want to jump on that because make an offer and have them counter. And you can make an offer, you can make an offer to vulture funding or whatever they're called, and make your offer, and you can request a counter. So they'll counter back to you with what they want, and then you come back and you guys go back and forth until you come to that sweet spot where
That happy
okay,
medium.
I have medium, exactly. So make your offer and then have them counter. At least you know how they're, you know where their head is, and then they're showing their cards.
Because they do want to sell it.
They do want to sell it.
They do want to sell it. And don't give up at the first try. Keep going. If you want that house, don't give up. Make an
Okay.
offer. Good stuff. Go ahead, Alita. And then we're going to get to Mr. Storm for another question for you. But go ahead, Alita.
It's a brilliant thank you. That here in the chat it says brilliant thank you. And that's what I've got to say before I hand back over to you. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, good. Good stuff. We're having so much fun and we're learning a lot on the Axe Carol show. Mrs. Storm, here's a question for you. How do you handle difficult clients or deals that went sideways?
My goodness, I think even if you can have some of the best people starting out, and then all of a sudden that second personality comes out, and you just, how do I handle it? I think of it as ministry to me, and I am here to help. And I do eat a lot of humble pie. I know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and I do know when to walk away. And I
Yes.
do know when to run. I've even tried to fire my buyer. I tried to fire my buyer because
Can you really do that?
they were so difficult. But then they realized that I was the only one that had enough patience to deal with them. So because they kept mentioning other realtors, I said, well, maybe it would be a good idea to go use that other realtor. I want the best for them. And I do. If I can't do it for you, surely get someone who can. But they stuck in there until we bought that house because they knew a lot of other realtors was not going to put up with some of the things that they were trying to deal with. Once I got past the part where, listen, we're not going to talk to each other disrespectfully. We're not going to do that. If I don't talk to you that way, I do not want you talking to me that way. There is no
Also,
deal. There's no deal that
it's
I
no
want that
deal.
bad that I am going to take abuse, from people. And so
Abuse is never okay. And
not
we
okay.
talk about this all the time on the Axe Carol show. Abuse is never okay.
It is not.
Walk us through the process. Let's say someone never bought a house before, rented house all their lives. Now they're ready. What is the first step? Walk us through that journey.
Okay, the first step is to face the giant. Look at your credit score.
Okay.
Look at your,
I'm sorry,
it's a,
Mrs. Storp. I'm sorry. Alita, can you just put those pointers in the chat while Mrs. Storp go? So go ahead.
yeah,
First
face
step.
the giant. That's what I say, face the giant. A lot of us want to run away from the giant because we're afraid to see what our credit score is. But you can't do anything with it unless you face it. And so, whether it's a low, you might be surprised that it's higher than you thought it was actually. But find out where you are concerning your credit score and what you can do better to make it better. Some things are simple. Some things you owe $100 for 5 years. Pay the $100. Pay the $100. You spend money on going out to eat. You spend money on expensive shoes. You get your nails done, your hair done. You go to the barber. You do all of those things. Sacrifice that $100 and pay that. The second thing is to find a real estate agent that you trust. All real estate agents and brokers are not created equal. Just because they have a big name in a big industry does not mean that you are going to get the best service that you want. Because a lot of people in the big industries that they may have like 40 listings and they have so many buyers and whatnot. How much time can they spend on you?
Right.
How much time do they have for you? So credit, face the giant, deal with it, and get a good real estate agent. And a lot of times you can get that through referrals, somebody that worked with someone else, or call me. Call me. You got to be able to trust them. You don't have to like me, but you have to trust me. Okay.
Good stuff.
Do
Do you need a deposit to purchase a home? Can you just purchase a home with no deposit down? Is that even real?
You need, there are first-time home buyer programs, of course, that can help you pay your out-of-pocket, your deposit. But when you talk about, there's two different types of deposits, and one is like an escrow deposit. It's something that lets the seller know that you have skin in the game and it means something to you. So I make an offer, and with the offer, I'm saying I will put in the escrow. The normal amount is 1% of what you're purchasing it with. 1%.
1%.
But it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. Some people say, I always ask them, how much can you put out of pocket from the beginning? And that goes towards your purchase. It goes towards the purchase of the property. So it's not just this extra money that's sitting on the side that you'll never see again. No, it goes into the closing. And so if you only got 500 and you're going for a $100,000 home, go for it, offer it, because when you make the offer, they can always say, no, can they come back with like 1,500 or 1,000? So you do what you can afford. If you can't afford to do it, then don't do it. Wait until you have the opportunity to, because we have run into some difficult clients that did not have any money. They didn't have no money to put down. They had no money for closing costs. They just didn't have no money. They just wanted the bank. Now, as a VA, a veteran, you can get 100% financing. But they still asked you to put a couple $100 or something down just to show me that you're serious.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And then there are
really
other things that you're going to have to finance. There are an inspection. An inspection for the property comes out of your pocket. Appraisal.
Is there any way you can include that in the mortgage? The inspection?
No.
Okay.
But hear me on this. There are people that do have some right now money problems. You can get a gift, a one-time gift from someone that they're saying that I just want to help you. I want to help you with this. And they would have to give a letter. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Tell them about the one-time gift.
You can get, it's called a gift. Okay, so say if I wanted to buy a home, but I needed $10,000, right, for my closing costs. Frida could give me the $10,000 and just write we call a letter of explanation saying, I have chosen to gift Frida gift Gene with $10,000 so he can purchase this property. Okay, you can do that. Now, what the banks will do, they'll source the money. They want to see it coming out of your 401k, your savings, or your
Mm-hmm.
checking account,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But you can do that because they don't want any fraudulent money,
They don't want any
Right.
drug money.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to see it
Good
coming out
stuff.
of somewhere. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You can't pull it out from under your mattress, that type of thing.
That's another important thing is put your money in the bank.
Some of it at least.
Some money in the bank. Put some money in the bank.
And does the bank wants to see that pattern, like you're saving every month, or can you put a lump sum in from your own money?
Well, the bank is going to ask for 2-month bank statements just
Two
to see
months.
that you haven't been overdrawn in your bank account for the past two
Mm-hmm.
months. And then all of a sudden you come up with $10,000 or 20,000, whatever. They're going to, and that's for underwriters. The underwriters are king in our business because we gather all the documentation, but they verify it. And part of their verification process, okay, Frida gave me the 10,000, but where did Frida get the 10,000 from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, we see here it was taken from her 401k or her pension. So good, that means it's good money. We can check that off and we can proceed with doing the loan. So you can get money from friends, relatives, but it has to be sourced. We call it sourced. And when they source it, they want to see where it came from.
Where it came from. Real good stuff. And here's a question for you. What is the difference between fixed rate and variable rate mortgage? What is the difference?
Okay, a fixed rate is just what you're saying. It's a fixed rate. It'll be fixed
Mhm.
for the life of the loan. Okay, whether it's a 15-year fix or a 30-year fix. That means you'll pay that until it's paid off. Okay. The variable rate, or we call it, it's let's say you have a 30-year loan, right?
Mhm.
So it's 5 years fixed. Okay, so you'll pay 5% for 5 years, right? It's fixed.
Okay.
But those other 25 years, it's variable. It's based on the interest rates, the LIBOR index. So it can go up and down. I don't, variable rates are more for savvy uh, purchasers because you got to know what you're doing because that rate can go up and it can, or it can go down.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be prepared once it becomes a variable mortgage, whether you may pay 500 one month, but the next month you may pay 1,000 because it's going to go up and down. So I don't recommend those, not unless I someone is really business savvy or they know
Mm-hmm.
they're only going to
Or
be
an
there.
investor?
Investor, they may only going to be in that home for 5 years and then they're going to move on to somewhere else. They can sell it after that, or that fourth year you can refinance, okay, and then switch it from a variable rate to a fixed rate for the rest of the 25 years that you have. So it's different ways of doing it, but it's for someone that's pretty savvy as far as interest rates and so forth.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're almost out of time on the Ask Carol Talk Show. We are learning so much for all your real estate needs and financial need. Please contact Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe. Their information is in the chat. But Alita, talk to us. What are we seeing in the chat?
One final question from Andrea, which is quite brilliant. It's what's the percentage for the closing cost? We mentioned deposit, and also we want to know what is the percentage for the closing costs, please.
Good question.
You want to answer that?
Yes, it ranges from 3 to 4% of the purchase cost. And you can always ask the seller if they would help you with that closing cost.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Alita, is there anything else?
No, I think that's it for now. I think we've got to chew on this because it's a lot of information that we've actually got. But oh my goodness, isn't this so amazing? So much constructive, relevant, helpful info. Oh my goodness, you guys are a one-stop shop and you are absolutely amazing. Thank you
Yes,
very much. I
indeed.
hand you back to
Yes,
the
indeed.
host.
Yes, indeed. I think we deserve a part two on this topic because it's so important. When a lot of people just need to be in the housing business, they need a house, they're struggling. They don't know where to go, they don't have the information, but we just got a one-on-one information on how to start when you want to buy your first home, when you want to refinance. If you have questions about finances, please contact Mr. and Mrs. Storr from the Project Inc. Their information is in the chat. And if you want to see them back on the Ask Carol Talk Show, show me some likes, show me some thumbs up. Yes, no, we need a part two. This is really good information. I am saying yes to a part two. What are
Oh,
we
yes,
seeing?
we
What are
would
we seeing,
love
Alita, before
a
we close
part.
on the Ask Carol show?
We
Yes,
would love to
thumbs
do
up.
that.
Yes, yes, please. We need a part two. Yay.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, a hearts, love, and some great bigger thumbs up. So that's a big yes right there. Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
is good stuff, good stuff. And if you want to support the Ask Carol Talk Show, our information is also in the chat. We need your support. The Ask Carol Talk Show is doing amazing. We have some great shows coming up. So please, please, please support the Ask Carol Talk Show. Before we leave, Mrs. Torp, any final words for us on real estate?
Oh, just if it is in your heart to do it, talk about it first. Don't jump into anything too quickly. Talk to a professional, work on your credit score, and then come talk to us, and we will lead you. Even if I can't personally do your transaction, I can possibly refer you to someone, or I can just answer your questions in general for free.
For free. Awesome. Awesome. We love that four-letter words. Mr. Torp, any final say?
Thank you for the time. It's
Thank you.
something that we enjoy doing. Um, Call me if anybody need help. Information is really the key to this whole thing. And if we don't have the answer, we'll find it for you. We just closed a loan where we worked with a single mom for almost 18 months
Yeah.
to get her closed. And one thing that we like to do, we're very personable with our clients. We try to be with them from start to finish, as far as their credit, all the way up to actually being there for the closing of their home. So we're gonna walk you through the entire process. We're gonna hold your hand, overcome any obstacles that come in the way, and make sure that you buy what is probably going to be the biggest purchase of your life, which is a new home.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I know you live in the state of Florida, but do you practice in any other states or can we contact you
Yeah, I can.
if we're outside of Florida?
Oh, you want to answer that?
Oh, you can contact us. So I know some of you use WhatsApp. We're on WhatsApp under Frida Thorpe and Eugene Thorpe. Contact us. But I can also, Gene is licensed in a couple of different states. I'm right now, I'm just licensed in Florida, but I do know people in other states that I would be glad to refer you to. Just call me and then I can give you somebody to say, hey, somebody that I have vetted already.
Good. And here on the Ask Carol Talk Show, we're global. We're in Ireland. We're in the UK. We're in Africa. We're in the
Wow.
Caribbean. Do you recommend that they contact you as well? Because this is international.
Yeah, please call us we have some answers for you. Real estate is pretty much the same around the world. And so the small things we can help you meander through. And if you got a favorite realtor over there, I'm sure they'll be glad to help you also.
Awesome, awesome. And if you missed the information, it's right there in the chat, or you can contact Shay or myself. Shay, you're on with us. Can you just unmute and tell us about our social media pages? And if anyone needs to contact us, they can contact you or myself. Go ahead, Shay.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so our social media pages are in the chat. All you have to do is click on the link and like and follow and subscribe. And if you would like to send a message to us, you can message us on the Facebook page or through Instagram, and we will be happy to answer any questions or get you the information that you need.
Thank you so much. This has been, as Alita would say, shamazing.
It's amazing.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. To our special guest, Mr. and Mrs. Storp. Please contact them for all your finances and your real estate need. What an amazing episode on the Ask Carol show. By popular demand, they will be back to be announced. Thank you so much. And join us next week. You don't want to miss next week's episode. We're going to transition from finances and real estate to passion. Make your passion into paycheck. How about that? Turn your
Right?
passion
That
into
sounds good.
paycheck. And we're going to have the Reverend Dr. Michael Williams will be our special guest on next week on the Axe Carol Talk Show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been amazing. Continue to support the Axe Carol Talk Show. We are on Zoom every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in Europe, it's 7 p.m. Europe time. Thank you to everyone for joining us. What an amazing episode. Mr. Torp, Mrs. Torp, you have been amazing. So much information, so much we learned today. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
All
This is
right.
Max
You,
Carol
thank
Talk Show.
you.
And oh, we forgot. It's real conversation, real impact. What is in the Axe Carol mug tonight? Apple juice. And are you ready for my rap? Are you ready for my rap? Here we go. One, two, three. Now, ask Carol anything, don't hold back. Real conversations on the right track. Real impact, no fluff, just fact. Ask Carol, ask Mrs. Thorpe, ask Mr. Thorpe on Ask Carol Talk Show. To my amazing co hosts, Alita and Shay, thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.